In March this year, a software developer that goes by PB Online published a blog rather ominously titled, Everyone Knows All the Apps on Your Phone.
So PB is a software developer based in India, and software developers in India are, from my understanding, like many of them are not very concerned with privacy, but a few of them are, and PB is one of them. He was looking at what kind of app permissions different apps on your phone had. This is specific to Android phones, and he found out that a lot of apps, especially from Indian app-based startups, were very interested in finding out what other apps are installed on users' phones.
That's my colleague Abhirami G. PB told her over a phone call last month that these startups were actively flouting Google Play's rules to access people's data. Now, this may sound extreme, but essentially that means that mobile phone you're carrying around in your pocket every day, well, it's actually a data funnel spying on your every move.
For context, until up to 2021 or 2022, Google Play, uh, as per Google Play rules, apps had apps are basically given free reign to look at what other apps are on your phone for like various purposes. But I think in around 2022 is when they stopped giving out these permissions willy nilly. They were like, okay, unless there is a specific reason why you need to like look at what other apps are on people's phones, you shouldn't be looking at these.
But many of these startups have figured out a workaround. Despite Google's efforts, these startups, and by that I mean well known companies like Swiggy, Zepto, and Cred, are still able to see a lot of the other apps and activities on your phone. We'll get into how in a little while. But before that, let's try and understand why. What do they do with that data?
Profiling, because when you are an internet based startup, you need as much data about your users as possible. So if you know what all apps are on someone else's phone, you can you can have a fairly like solid picture of what kind of person they are.
Think about it. Maybe you have a couple games like Candy Crush or Counter Strike on your phone. Maybe you have some gambling apps. Perhaps you're a frequent user of one particular kind of social media platform. All that data helps these apps paint a picture of the sort of person that you are. And more often than not, it's a fairly accurate picture. Now, the fact that apps have a lot of your data may not be a surprise to you. We've been pretty cavalier about our data for some time now. Remember DigiYatra? Well, 9 million of us quite happily gave up our biometric details just to make that airport rush a little more bearable. About a year ago, a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers revealed that a fifth of Indian consumers weren't even aware of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, let alone their rights as consumers. But the scary thing is that Indian companies are equally nonchalant about the user data they're collecting. And the result? Well, data security breaches have been on the rise. The latest one was the February breach at stockbroker Angel One that impacted nearly 8 million customers. So, what is a data conscious Indian customer to do? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Rahel Philippos, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Snigdha Sharma and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Tuesday, the 13th of May. You know those nudges you get from time to time? Swiggy will ask you if you're hungry and craving a burger, or a loan app like, say, Credit B will tell you to complete your half finished application. Well, the goal of these nudges is naturally to improve customer experience and prevent cancellation. But some of them are more targeted than others. For instance, a deep tech VC Abhi spoke to said many apps use datasets from the aggregator data.ai, which was formerly known as App Annie.
It does a lot of like data analytics above which are specific to apps on like people's phones. And what the VC explained to me was that this is probably like more complex than this, but App Annie's like tracking tools come bundled with certain apps, and like they get installed and like share the same permissions as this thing. They are basically piggybacking on these apps, and they can check, okay, like how much time did you spend on this particular app, how much time on that particular app, like, and they collect this kind of data. They aggregate it, and like they group it by like personality and like like user profile, like say like if you are a user between 18 and 25 who lives in Indiranagar and like and like works a journalism job, this is the kind of like thing that you're likely to do. These are the apps you're likely to access for most periods of time, and they can like bundle up this data and sell it to people who want to buy it, which in many cases might be like startups who want to like understand the kind of profiles and maybe like use this information to target people in these areas more specifically.
So, hypothetically, a platform like data.ai could potentially go to, say, Swiggy and tell them that people in a particular demographic, like 19 to 25, are spending far more time on Zomato. Swiggy can then figure out how to double down on that particular user base. And that's not all. A lot of apps themselves harvest competitors' data from you. For instance, if you sign up for Zepto Postpaid, the app will ask you for permission to read your bank's SMSs to you, apparently to check if you're eligible for the plan. But in the process, PB told Abhi that they also read messages from all their major competitors, including the likes of Swiggy, Zomato, Blinkit, Big Basket, and Flipkart.
It's very gray. I think like the SMS permission, for instance, like is something that Zepto was originally supposed to use for like say like reading OTPs off of your bank providers, like this thing, for instance, or checking like which all like banks or like which all like financial apps like are sending you SMSs. But along with that, they have just like put in like Blinkit and Swiggy and all of these other guys that are the competitors, just for them to know how much you are ordering from them.
Since 2022, Google has expressly forbidden companies from seeing other installed apps on your phone, unless it's absolutely essential to an app-based startup's core functionality. But like Abhi mentioned, startups have been rampantly abusing this provision. PB said one way they do it is by individually listing out every app on a user's phone that they want to check for. And there's more. Stay tuned. PB made an interesting point in his blog post back in March. He found that Swiggy in particular wasn't just harvesting data from consumers, but also from the gig workers that it was employing.
Gig workers are obviously the most like exposed because um, gig worker apps harvest like data that is different from those who are consuming it, because you look for competitors apps. Like if you are a Swiggy delivery driver and you have the Swiggy delivery driver app, they'll look for like Zeptos, they'll look for Blinkits, they'll look for Porter, they'll look for Uber and Ola and like Rapido and all of these other like this thing to mainly to understand like which all other like competitor like apps these guys are working for.
It'll also check to see if they have personal finance or loan apps on their phone to understand who is in debt. It'll also check for gambling apps like Rummy King to assess who's likely to go into debt. Meanwhile, the consumer-facing app harvests data from 154 different apps on a user's phone, including messaging apps like WhatsApp and Discord, travel apps like Make My Trip Indigo and IRCTC Rail, and even fintech apps like Cred and Paytm. It even checks for Microsoft Teams and Slack. Do you see where I'm going with this? There is a very real class divide.
It's very intrusive. Like, it's basically these apps are trying to pry into like the lives of gig workers. And we already know how a bunch of these like app-based startups are very like inconsiderate of like their gig workers, right? So you can kind of like look at the, software side of it, the tech side of it, as well as like the real life side of it, and kind of put together this picture of how these guys want to understand, like how these guys want to like basically exploit their workers in whatever way they can.
PB also raised another pretty significant question. How is knowing whether I have the Xbox or PlayStation app installed on my phone essential to an app like Swiggy's core functionality? It isn't just food delivery apps either. Even fintech apps are gathering as much data as they can while running in the background. Yes, sure, regulated fintech apps have far more restrictions on what data they use, but unregulated apps use data from a variety of sources and then make their own assumptions based on them. A former employee at a digital lending platform recalled how, in the lender's earlier days, when it mainly provided loans to college students, it would check if they had games like Counter Strike installed in their devices. They would usually refuse loans to students with too many gaming apps. Why? Because that meant that they were unserious. The former employee said many unregulated loan apps still do this. And here's the other thing. Most of these checks are only done on Android phones.
If you look at like the divide between the upper middle class and like the ultra rich, a lot of people, I mean, like the divide here is that if you're an Android user, you're much more likely to have these like data privacy violations happen to you than if you're an iPhone user, because iPhones are simply like, more privacy focused, but they're also much more expensive. So if you're an iPhone user, you're automatically shielded from like a lot of this. In fact, like there isn't even like an iPhone version of a lot of these gig worker apps because they straight up don't assume that gig workers can afford like iPhones. And if you look at App Annie statistics, if you look at data.ai statistics, like 90% of the data that they have collected comes from Android phones and only 10% comes from Apple phones. So yeah, like again, 3 levels of like privacy, and if you are like rich, you can like avoid a lot of these by straight up like shielding yourself from being protected in various ways. It's like, but if you are like a gig worker, you can't like really defend yourself from a lot of this.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted by Rahil Philippos, produced by me, Snigdha Sharma, and edited by Rajiv Cn.